Why do you guys watch sports? And before you give me the cliche answer that I know you're going to say, oh, I love to watch my team win. Well, if your team won every game, would that be exciting? If your team won every single Super Bowl, every single Stanley Cup, would it still be exciting to watch? No, it wouldn't. There'd be no competition. Competition is what makes sports somewhat fun. Now, is it for the players? Well, no, because sports have been watched forever and players have come and gone. I will be a Titans fan long after Mariota. You'll be a Pats fan long after me. So it's not just about the players. In my mind, there's a deeper meaning to sports that it wasn't until when I was very, very young and I used to be really into documentaries and that I came across the story. And it was actually my final university paper. I actually ended up doing really good on it. And it is about the Miracle on Ice. Now, let me ask you guys as Americans, what's your favorite sport? Unless you're from Minnesota, you're probably not going to say hockey. I'm just saying, you're probably not. You like baseball, football, those are the big time sports. I don't even really like hockey, to be honest. But why is it that the greatest moment in U.S. sports history was a hockey game? Why was that? That doesn't even make sense, TD. I don't really care about hockey. Well, it was. And the reason, and this is my biggest theory about sports, before I get into specifics, I want to ask you guys a question. Just sit down, relax, and listen. If you went to a sporting event and there was no names on the jerseys, everyone just wore white shirts on both sides, would it be all that entertaining? Some people say they go to basketball games to watch the skill. Well, would you be as interested if there was no separation between each team? It wasn't Cleveland Golden State, it was just a bunch of guys playing basketball for no reason. Would that really matter to you? You're probably going to say, no, it's the same players. You still have the superstars. You still have the big names, the great three-point shots. But does that really matter? In my mind, where sports become sports is the jersey. And it's not just the jersey literally. It's what the jersey can mean and what the jersey can stand for. When you put on, let's go back to the USA, what the main video is about, the 3 seconds that changed sports history. Those guys who went to go play in Russia, wearing their US stripes, those weren't even like the best hockey players in the States. Let me tell you guys that. Those weren't even the best players. But they were in a game against Russia that at a time when the Cold War was going on, Russia and the US were completely at odds. I don't know if you guys understand this. You might be younger. You might have lived through it. There was times in the US, I wasn't alive, where there was literally protocols in schools for what would happen if the US got nuked by Russia. Like, Russia had put nukes in Cuba. Like, the whole thing was crazy. Yet, at the same time, the US and Russia are playing together in a sporting event in hockey. Now, it was such, like, why so many people across America, I'm pretty sure it is known as one of the highly, like, most watched things that has ever happened in US history in terms of sports. I don't know if it's still, but at that time, I guarantee you there were so many people in the US who, it didn't matter what sport it was. It wasn't about it was hockey. It wasn't about the players that were playing. It's what the players represented. It's that they were representing their entire country. Like that, to me, that event could have been anything. It was just the fact that the US and Russia were together in like some sort, like they were not, obviously these two countries potentially could be going to war, yet they're playing hockey against each other. Obviously you're going to feel a sense of pride for the US cheering for them. That is why it was so popular. So when I go back to ask you guys about sports, and you start thinking about sports in that way, that event, it wasn't about the sport. Sports to me is a symbol of so many things. And that moment, I don't know if you guys know the full story. I'm not going to get into the entire thing that happened with the Cold War. But that sporting event and those games, a lot of really, really smart people believe those games are part of the reason that the US and Russia never went to war. To me, that is absolutely crazy. Now, let me bring up another example. This is a really, really quick one. North Korea, South Korea. You have two countries, same thing, at odds. I don't know if you guys know, in the Olympics, North Korea actually had hockey players on the female team playing for South Korea. There was a couple, I think 2 or 3 players from North Korea playing on the South Korea team. Those sports, that event, female, women's hockey in general, probably worldwide, isn't really like, a lot of people probably aren't going to watch that sport. It got the North Korean vice president down to South Korea. It got them talking. And very soon after that, they reached a point of peace. Now, I'm not saying it was because of the North Korea. I'm not saying it was because of that, but I'm saying it happened directly after the Olympics when they worked together. So to me in life, when you guys think about sports, I think of it as there's certain, like, I have never thought about it the same. Whenever my team loses, I just don't really get too serious about it. I think there's such a deeper meaning to sports. There's a reason that Cleveland win. LeBron going back to Cleveland, people who don't care about Cleveland still watch that because there was a story behind it. Now, this 3 seconds, and the goal, obviously, you guys know the story. The U.S. ended up winning. They were not favored to win whatsoever. America, at that time, was not in a great place. As a country, they were lacking identity. America looked weak at one time. I'm not just saying this. America, at that time, Russia was winning a lot of things. The space race was going on. A ton of feud was going on between the U.S. and Russia. And sadly, I hate to say it, the U.S. wasn't looking all that good. U.S. winning that game, the U.S. getting that confidence from that game, in my mind, sparked that whole nation. It also was the unity of the teams playing that could have stopped a complete war. But I don't know, and this is going really, really crazy. This is going on a huge tangent. I don't know if the U.S. is the same today if it wasn't for that hockey game. Now, you're going to say I'm crazy. You're going to question everything that I say here. But if you guys really go look at the statistics and look at the economy at the time that game happened and look at how the U.S. was doing in general, it was not a very happy time in America. But that one sporting event, that one hockey game, when there's literally probably a quarter of America actually cares about hockey or could name 5 NHL players currently, that hockey game changed the U.S., changed world history, prevented a world war. So going back to my leading question, why do we watch sports? I think there's simple reasoning for why I love sports. I love for kids and stuff, I love what it can mean at a young age. I love that it can get people in a team atmosphere. But I think sports means a lot to a lot of different people. I think you can't, for the city of Philadelphia, on a smaller scale such as the US, it wasn't necessarily about football. It was for the city of Philadelphia to win the Super Bowl. They all lost it. Philadelphia isn't the richest place in America, but it's a very blue collar place. Winning something like that, it sparks people and it motivates people. So to me, sports will never be, and I'm closing with this, it's never about the player. I don't really I like players, but I try not to get too attached. There is a greater meaning to sport that if you really dig, you guys will find. And I found, I just look at things completely different. I really, really encourage you guys, if you had no idea what I was talking about going into this, if you didn't know what the Cold War was, and if you didn't know what this hockey game was, I really encourage you to go look it up, because it's a really, really big moment in history that I think changed the course of everything. And you might think I'm crazy, but sports, so when people try and downplay sports, when people come to me and say, oh, all you care about is sports, well, sports means something. It's not just about, if you look at it in general, and I'm just rambling right now. I'm really enjoying this video. In general, the task of a hockey game, guys wearing pieces of, blades, skating on ice, using a wooden stick to put a small puck in a mesh net against a goalie wearing a bunch of padding. Sounds stupid. In general, if you really dumb down any sport to, the core, it just sounds stupid. Oh, basketball. Shooting a ball in a hoop. You can only dribble it. Sounds kind of stupid. Football. Run, try not to get hit, and try and cross a line. Millions of dollars are paid for people who can cross a line in football. People who can get across that touchdown line and catch a ball. Sports is an interesting thing. I love it. I love that it's my job. I love that I got to play it my whole life. But I think sometimes we undervalue the meaning of sports. And I think that moment for U.S. history and for everything, I personally think it could have potentially prevented a war. I'm just saying it. If you really look back, check the statistics. See how everything was going. God bless you guys. If you guys enjoyed these kind of videos, make sure to drop a like down below. I really enjoy making them. I'm planning on doing a bunch more videos like this where I kind of talk about certain events throughout history and just talk about my sports opinions in general. I'm hoping on starting a podcast really, really soon where I can do this every single morning and then post kind of clips of it on the channel. I don't know what you guys think of that. God bless you guys. Miracle on Ice. Go watch the movie too. There's a movie on. I just saw the movie recently. And thank you guys for watching.